Hi everyone, it's Jess. I'm back with my pretty epic video series with wonderful, inspiring women. And this one is kind of special because A, I'm lucky enough to know Freya, but B, Freya's story is pretty intense. So be ready for this one. Grab a cup of tea. Maybe don't get tissues because we never go down the negative route. Freya has launched an app called Wholesome World. Look at this. Bomb. And I love a prop. The app has a massive story behind it, and it's kind of came about through some hardship, some sad times, but has ended on the most incredible, positive, vibrant, wholesome. First up, actually, what is the app?
The app, Wholesome World app, is front of house, a big pile of like nutritious recipes that will aid your health, and particularly those that are trying to avoid cancer and those that have it. So that's the front of house, and then we've got a layer of ingredient information, then it spreads throughout the whole life and includes scientific information, it includes fitness and mental health and just general life.
And it's an incredible device, or even for those who don't have cancer or don't know anyone who have never been affected by cancer, it's actually a really good guide to lead a really amazing life and to be healthy and feel good inside.
Motivation, self-motivation and happiness.
Yeah, self-motivation and happiness, that's a good way of putting
it. And
health.
Yeah.
So why did you build an app to help people either through cancer or with cancer or after cancer?
Well, I think this is one of the big differences for a lot of people. It's the fact that my husband went through it, I went through it, and in both of those stances we had a few kind of like unique benefits from friends and family to be able to push through that situation. Sadly, I lost my husband to cancer, and I wanted to actually put all of the insight that we had on a plate for people for, as I said, general health or fighting cancer.
So your husband was called Lars, and he died of stomach cancer, was that right?
Well, it's actually synovial sarcoma, quirky words. But
I was never going to be able to say that.
It took me years to remember it after the next bit, which you'll hear in a second. But it's your synovial fluid, which is in your joints, but it actually turned up in an abdominal cavity space.
Oh, wow.
So like not an organ. And it's such a quick growth that normally it's an arm or leg or an appendage that is chopped off because they didn't have enough research, because it's not that regular as well.
Right.
And it's a really fast grower. So he had it in his abdomen, and so they couldn't just do that.
Right.
So he had this aggressive tumour within him, and I'm just still so proud of him for actually tackling it more than pretty much anyone in the world. He had about 4 sequences, whereas standard is 1 if you can't chop it off. And he taught me a lot of things as to how to focus on your own health. And he also, I think he had the highest amount of drugs for that type of cancer because he was 6'7".
Wow.
And determined on every single life angle, which is what taught me to create the app as well.
So how to get through that kind of really vicious cancer, and unfortunately he didn't make it. But what happened after that?
So I distracted myself a lot and kind of let go of all the research that we'd been doing for his condition. And then I happened to find a brain cancer, which was about fist size big, in my temporal lobe, which again took me 3 years after removal of the temporal lobe to relearn the correct nouns and memories to recite that. So yeah, I had the temporal lobe removed, or a big chunk of it. And then I had to, whilst going through radiotherapy and then followed again by chemotherapy, I had to relearn all those verbs, those verb vibes.
I think you're doing pretty well, to be honest.
So my weekend chat was the first to make it up there. A little bit of politics as well, because of Brexit, which I won't.
Oh, let's not go there.
I'll actually cover that whole.
It's not good for the health.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Exactly. And brought the company together, and I was actually, I don't know, very, very emotionally pushed to do that rather than just financially. But the financial push came together really solidly to kind of keep it available and maintain itself.
A lot of the people we've spoken to on this series have been driven by an idea or a passion, or certainly not anything that's been so grounded in maybe a grief process or a process of hardship. And what I find most fascinating about you is that you are probably one of the most fun people I've ever met in my life.
She met me after I lost my brain.
Yeah, so we met weirdly. We met on a catwalk. Claire belongs on a catwalk far more than I do. I mean, people find it, of all the advice that's out there, which is, believe in yourself and be prepared to work really hard and do all the hours and get a good accountant and all that stuff. What would you say? I mean, I think particularly relevant to Wholesome World. Ta-da! I love this thing. Would you say, with your experience of collecting all this information and this scientific knowledge about living a better life in lots of different respects, what advice would you give for women that are launching a company right now that might be utterly exhausted, might be juggling a work-life balance, not only maybe even a full-time job, children, family, all those things? What's the best piece of advice, lifestyle and health-wise, you would give?
I have to say that to force yourself time off, because just that break or that weekend or spending time with your family or a friend, distraction, I think it actually cultivates you to be more productive when you open the door again. And that is something that is very difficult for me and Jess. But I'm slowly starting to realise it now, and I think it is such a big benefit looking at my productivity of the day. That is top of my list. Yeah.
I find I've learned recently I've got a variety of amazing teams that I work with, my clients, and if I'm speaking to one of them and there's some work that needs doing or I need a phone call, I'm finding myself more and more transparent about my time.
Yeah.
So I might say, that's a brilliant opportunity, we'll have a call about it.
Yeah.
Unfortunately today, I've got some work planned that I need to get through, and I've got some other meetings. And whereas before I'd have been like, yes, of course, let's have that phone call right now. Yeah, and I find that I'm actually probably way more creative, a lot more holistic in my approach to things, and way more authentic when I'm just being honest with everybody else as well as myself.
Yeah.
And I think that's really powerful.
I hugely agree. And to give yourself that motivation and kind of understanding of what you're going to talk through, and you don't have to say immediately as the first thing. Yeah. You just have to, as long as you are secure that it's going to happen, then you can say, when are you available? This date, this date, this date. And if they say no, then you say, I will squash it in.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I love the deadlines and the speed and the pace of working really fast.
I have smaller brain than her now, so I need rest. I genuinely need rest, and that's something actually that was really hard to adhere to because it's not normal.
I mean,
and lots of people do have to deal with stuff in that mannerism as well. Yeah. And as I said, like, family is important. You've got to remember why you are making this effort, creating this business. What are the benefits of it?
I'm just going to go back there. Your brain maybe have a bit out, but I don't think it's smaller than mine. I've got a very small head. Which
you sneaky sob.
Astonishes me every time that I manage to get so much done.
Her motivation is astounding. Wow. I'm so proud of her, and it's really lovely to sit with someone as well, like rarely, but it still happens that we sit together to do some work, and it's motivating to not distract yourself. So actually there's group offices as well. If you're doing your own business, sit there and then you can both vent on each other over a coffee. Yeah. I find that a really good break, because it means everything that you're dwelling in your mind and swirling around, you say it out loud, and then you're actually able to go, oh, that doesn't sound right. Yeah. These two options, I disrespect that one.
Yeah, we were talking about one of your articles this morning, weren't we, and going through that. And I think for me, it's just, I find I probably get a little bit more work done when I'm in a purpose-built, worky type of environment, and you know, a little bit of healthy chat, gossip.
I don't gossip. Not at all. So,
thank you so much.
Thank you.
I think this might be, I mean, all my interviews are my favourites. I'm such a, fickle, because I say it about everyone, but I do adore you, and I think you're a massive inspiration, and hopefully lots of other people will find so too.
Yeah. Oh,
thanks.
Thank you.
Bye everyone. You're amazing.